Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Please reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing. Today, we are discussing the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak Offshore Diver Chronograph. This is the 26703, 42 millimeters in stainless steel, and it was launched at SIHH in 2016. So the watch is 42 millimeters in diameter by 14.7 millimeters thick by 53.8 millimeters lug-to-lug if you measure it lug-to-lug. But if you measure these end lengths, which, by the way, can't be compressed down, the total distance across the wrist, the rigid distance across the wrist, is a beefy 58.2 millimeters. So be ready for this watch to wear larger than 42. You can see on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist, it fits, but just. A wrist of around 16 centimeters circumference, pretty much what you see here, is going to be the lower limit for wearing this watch. That said, you could probably pull off 15 because this watch comes with the diver strap rather than the more rigid hornback alligator leather or the bracelet, which is completely inflexible. It's not a thin watch, but nor is it a monstrously thick one. It'll fit underneath a jacket cuff, if not a tight dress sleeve. The strap, the diver style strap, is a gorgeous one. It has a nice matte finish with a subtle texture. There's a little bit of a striation molded in to trace the imagined extensions of the intermediate links. We have a bevel on its edge that actually extends the bevel of the case. That's wonderful attention to detail. And as you can see, the strap is held to the case with screws and bars, which is a very secure and upscale way of attaching a strap or a bracelet to a case. Here we have a matching steel Audemars Piguet buckle, and as you can see, it's fairly straightforward. Its outer face is polished. Everything else is either media blasted or satinated and brushed. Rolling over the case, you can see it is the well-known Royal Oak Offshore case profile, somewhat tonneau-shaped. It continues the character lines of the octagonal bezel into the case band. It's mostly of satin finish, though there are some expanding polished bevels on the hoods of the lugs, and you can see there's actually micro-polished beveling on the crown guard structures. Chronograph pushers are made of ceramic, and you can see they're double finished with a combination of small polished accents and satin, and then you can see the same of the shoulder for the crown. It's a screw-down crown. It's a 300-meter water-resistant watch. The shoulder is made of ceramic and it's hexagonal, just like the steel bolts inside the bezel. The bolts inside a Royal Oak are usually gold. The bolts inside an Offshore are steel. And the bezel is a rounded octagon, which harks back to the original 1972 Royal Oak drawn by designer Gerald Genta, who drew his inspiration from a vintage diving helmet. The flank of the bezel is polished, but its outermost lip is satinated, and then its top has a satin grain that runs from top to bottom, which matches the satin grain on the case. What you get with AP is world-class metal finishing. This is a big part of what you're paying for when you buy one of these watches. The bezel gasket is fully expressed. It's functional, but it's also an aesthetic element of this rugged look. And then we have a hexagonal ceramic shoulder on a screw-down crown that operates the internal ratcheting diving bezel system. This is an ISO 6425 compliant diver, so you need some sort of system for registering the passage of time relative to a reference, and that's what we get right here. You can see that the watch does include a solid amount of lume, and it is a 0 to 60 minute count up timer. You can see the seconds hand is also loomed, so you know even in the dark whether your watch is operating. The timepiece can be used for timing a dive, yes, but it can also be used for timing cooking, intervals between meetings, time till your flight. There's a world of possibilities when you're using a dive bezel, but you can also time two events concurrently because this is a chronograph. You can see that there's a Rehot that doubles as the inner rotating bezel, and then there's a Mega Tapisserie dial base, which is a metallic blue large hobnail. We have two sub-registers, one of which is for constant seconds, one of which is for chronograph minutes. Both of them feature a polished chaptering. We have applied, faceted, rhodium-plated indices. And then we turn everything over and you can see the movement. The base movement is manufacture, Audemars Piguet 3124, and it uses a 3841 chronograph module made by Dubois de Praz, which is a modular complication specialist. Now here we have a 22 karat mass featuring the Audemars and Piguet family coats of arms, reminding you that Audemars Piguet, to this day, the oldest Swiss watchmaker, continuously owned and run by the founding families. It's a bidirectional winder, so it doesn't have the somewhat coarse and unrefined unidirectional winding wobble of something like a Valjoux 7750, and then ceramic rotor bearings are used to increase the durability, the efficiency, and also reduce maintenance. Now it's a 21.6 beat rate, so 21,600 vibrations per hour, and being an automatic winder, it energizes a 50-hour maximum power reserve. It's rugged in that we have a full balance bridge with a Gyromax style free sprung balance for shock tolerance, and all of this pivoting on 59 pivot joules. It also uses a vertical clutch system for the chronograph, so it has a seamless chronograph engagement without any jump or stagger. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.